So my friend Phil from South Africa, who's doing an animated, his company is doing an animated version. It's going to animate me and my YouTube channel and my shows. Oh, I used to have such a good arm, but now my shoulder's janky. But he said something to me that was pretty profound with regards to my, how I made a video talking about the greenhouse that I made for my wife. My wife's like, we're gonna call it good enough. And he said, dude, that's such a profound statement. Like, it changed his life. Literally said he changed his life. And I'm thinking, well, what do you mean? And he says, well, that's how it is in life. When sometimes, not everybody's perfect. We're all going to fail and fall short at basically everything. But if you can get to the point where the people around you find that what you're doing is good enough, then you're good enough for them. So that's important. If people think, hey man, your best is good enough, it's great for us. And it made me think, I was just looking at my flower beds that I made for my wife. And I'm not a landscaper. I don't, do landscaping, but I had an idea. Why don't we take these old beams, barn beams on our property, and use them as borders for our landscaping. I thought it was a pretty cool idea. So these beams all came from a barn that was torn down back there. If you look back, there's a pile of wood. And I had a vision for this. So I cut some beams down the sides, and they're kind of old, partially rotten. They got moss growing out of them, and I thought that was cool. I thought, these things are, if they're imperfect, because Maria wanted to put like brand new landscaping bricks up there, and it wasn't the money, a few $100s, but I thought, man, why not use like these old beams and stuff? And like this, this corner here is kind of rotted out, so I put this cool rock with moss on it over it. And there's rocks in there with moss. And anyways, I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's definitely not perfect. There's some flaws. You can see that there. But at the end of the day, even though it's not perfect and it's flawed, it's perfect or good enough. Meaning, even though it's a little old and imperfect, at the same time, being old and imperfect is what makes it perfect. It makes it real. It makes it beautiful. It's aged. It's got patina. It's 100-year-old barnwood. So it's seen a lot, done a lot, and now it's still seeing and doing things. And in a way, that's a metaphor for my life. Seen a lot, done a lot, and still imperfect. Very imperfect. But my wife thinks I'm good enough. She thinks I'm perfect. And because of my flaws and imperfections, she says that's what makes you perfect. And I think that's a good metaphor for everybody. Everybody who hears this is, listen, if you got some years on you and some flaws, maybe you overcame, then that's what makes you perfect. Perfect in somebody's eyes. And that's what you're after, to find the people who accept you for you, and you're perfect in their eyes, or you're good enough. Just like this little old barn house we got. It's a remodeled barn house. It's not huge, but it's got flaws. The upstairs needs to be finished. At the end of the day, it's good enough. And its flaws and its age what make it perfect for us. We love it. We wouldn't want one of those big brand new houses. Now, I like to have a big brand new log cabin maybe, but someday. For now, this is good enough. And this is our home. A little barn. Quiet. Nobody around. Nothing around. There's a salmon head nailed to that tree right there. If you haven't seen it, let's go look at it. There's a salmon head got shot through the mouth. He'll eat your face and your children. That's why I think it's cool, man. Little kids come here and they're like, oh, what is that? Anyways, be good enough. find people that see you as good enough. And if you're flawed and imperfect, doesn't matter, because that's what makes you perfect. Remember that. That's my PSA of the day.